Get some energy in here. So this is the first of what we like to think of as like a two-part promotion ceremony. So tonight, you will have the opportunity, for those who have never been to one of these before, you'll have the opportunity to hear teachers talk about each one of these students up here on stage next to us. And you know, at the heart of Hillbrook are relationships. And so you will hear the connection that students and teachers have with each other. You'll hear things that you may not have known about some of these amazing young people sitting next to me. And then in some cases, you'll hear things that you've known for a long time because you're their parents and you know them better than anybody. Either way, you will have a chance to really get to understand who these amazing students are. And also, you get a little glimpse into the amazing teachers that we have and the people who put a lot of time and thought into coming up with these remarks tonight to celebrate each of these students. Part 2 will be tomorrow morning, hopefully outside in the amphitheater. We remain optimistic. We have a plan in case it doesn't happen outside, but we hope to be outside. But out in the amphitheater, and we'll have the promotion, in which case we will have the whole class together, and you will hear a whole series of speeches really recognizing them as a group, the class of 2027. So with that, I am going to step away from them. Oh, students, I think you know this, but just in case, when your name is called, you should stand up at your chair. And as the teacher will then read their speech about you, and then at the end you'll come up and they have a flower and a book that they will be giving to you. A book, yeah. We would ask you to wait till after the ceremony to start reading the book. Oh, and with that, phones, don't use your phones during this either. So, without any further ado, thanks for joining us tonight, and we will have our first speaker, who is Eden.
Good afternoon. I will be speaking about Austin. Yeah, wait, what? Austin, you have been with us for a fairly short amount of time and yet have achieved remarkable feats in the last 3 years. I had just started to get to know you as your 7th grade advisor when all of a sudden you were submitting a proposal to start a video game design club, and the next thing you know, I was your club facilitator. For those of you who know me, you know I certainly don't have any experience in video games, game design, or really any single technology-related topic out there. No matter, because Austin had it covered. After preparing posters, a flag announcement, and spreading the word to friends, Austin held the first club meeting. He kicked it off with an organized informational presentation on Scratch, which is a simple free coding software, which maybe that's incorrect, but that's my best description of what it is. And off they went. You can correct me later. Completely self-directed and self-sufficient. Austin, whether you are coding, 3D printing, baking, designing a storyboard, testing rocket fuel, or performing in CMT musicals, I see your creativity and out-of-the-box thinking shine. Your precision and attention to detail show up in all of your work. Most recently, the regatta boat Rockinator. Your enthusiasm and an innovative spirit come alive when you are given the freedom to be creative in your learning. Beyond your own learning, you look for ways to make our community a better place. You are a sincere, helpful, and loyal friend. It is small gestures like presenting me with a thoughtfully wrapped homemade dessert on my birthday last year, I still remember that, and helping serve hot cocoa to each of your 50 classmates on a field trip that show your commitment to community. Thank you for sharing your incredible talents with Hillbrook and for reminding us that greatness knows no age. We eagerly anticipate the amazing contributions you will continue to make in high school and beyond.
So I'm going to be speaking first about Akiva Goldwasser. Amongst my advisory class, there is a rumor that Akiva is my favorite student. Now, to be clear, I do not have favorites. as I really do love and appreciate all of my students. That being said, what those students have seemed to catch on to is my genuine enjoyment at having Akiva in my class and on my sports teams. The reason for this is actually quite simple. Akiva's easygoing and fun-loving personality are pretty delightful to everyone around him. Akiva is the kind of person who does not take himself too seriously and knows how to laugh at his own foibles. One thing that many of his classmates lightly tease him for is his willingness to complain, and performatively at that. It is true, Akiva would often be the first to make his displeasure known if he was not excited to do something. However, he would also be the first to acknowledge that sometimes, he just likes to complain. For example, in my advisory class this year, we read the novel The Hunger Games, and we performed it through different parts. And initially, Akiva let us all know very clearly that he had already read the book, he didn't want to read it again, he didn't want to participate, and he continued to protest, and then I cast him as one of the main parts, at which he immediately caused us all riotous laughter as he 100% sold the character of Gale. It was a truly inspired performance. Akiva is a friendly and world-wise young man whom I have been lucky to have the privilege to teach this year. Akiva, I hope you continue to infuse every community you are in with your infectious joy and sense of humor, which make you such a fun person to be around.
Xander. Xander joined us in 6th grade, and we're so lucky to have him. His quiet, unassuming presence, and his kindness, his creativity, and his resourcefulness are always at the ready. Xander loves a challenge, whether it's calculating the height of the redwood tree in geometry. Outdoors, I could have pointed to it, but he nailed it. Supporting his team on the soccer field, or writing a story in English class that actually leaves the reader feeling sympathetic to stormtroopers who were under attack from rebel forces. His empathy and his community-mindedness set him apart. For his SIL project, Xander developed the concept of a green team, a club that would help beautify the campus and lessen Hillbrook's environmental footprint, encouraging others to get excited about helping out. Despite his many successes and accomplishments, he is consistently quiet, unassuming, and always ready with a kind smile. Xander was integral to the success of the play, literally shining the spotlight on others. And so much of what he does, he is concerned first for lifting others up. But nothing exemplifies his athleticism, his courage, and his community spirit than his involvement with traditional Greek dance, where his group has won competitions, and he's had to take a leadership role with younger members. Xander himself does such a good job describing the importance to him. I'm just going to paraphrase his own writing right now. I love Greek dancing. It started as just a silly thing I did as a 4-year-old boy. It has become my favorite activity. My friends at dance have become like family. I love getting to know my culture, and ironically, it is Greek Americans like myself who are now responsible for these dances not getting lost to the world forever. We do the dances and learn about the region and special aspects that are unique to our particular village, and then we are the caretakers of these traditions. Other dance groups will learn them from us and carry on the tradition. At a folk dance competition, a very old Greek man came up to my group in tears. He thought the dances of his tiny village had been forgotten, and he was moved that we could show him the traditions of his parents and grandparents who would not survive the Nazi occupation of Greece. This is why it's so important to me. You'll notice that even when he's describing his own accomplishments, he does so by describing the hope and joy he's able to spark within others. Xander, you have so much to be proud of, both in school and out. You have left Hillbrook a better place than you found it, and we wish you the best.
Ben.
Right.
My first experience meeting Ben was during a middle school enrollment screening, which was an escape room type format where students worked in teams to solve puzzles. And the minute he got to working, he was engaged, vocal, and supportive of his group members, and he worked cooperatively, persevering through each of the challenges. He was basically checking off all the boxes of these great character traits that we love to see in students. And when I first got to teach him in 7th grade, I realized just how much he embodied our core value of being curious, and he combines this with his creativity and ingenuity. With his strong coding skills, he created an interactive game in science to demonstrate what he had learned about human anatomy. And this year, he combined his enthusiasm for Dungeons and Dragons with his ingenuity to figure out how to bend popsicle sticks to make costume armor. Ben's curiosity is one of the traits that makes him such a fascinating person. I'm always excited to check in with him to keep up on his new undertakings as he shares his vast interests, which constantly seem to evolve. From parkour to ocean sports like boogie boarding and skimboarding, he always seems to be trying out new activities. And then there, of course, is his love of magic and sleight of hand. When I asked if he had any new card tricks, he shared that he has now graduated onto working with fire, and big fire. And yes, he always assured me that he did have his parents there with him. And not to let the cat out of the bag here, Ben, for your next fire-producing item that he wants to ask his parents about buying, but I will hint that his next endeavor may be learning fire breathing. Ben has told me that when it comes to trying things, his motto is, why not? And that is the risk taker in Ben, and that is the curious thinker. He strongly embodies these core values, and I can't wait to find out where they take him. We are lucky to have Ben continue on with us as he enters the upper school.
Rosie. Rosie Ashheim is a girl that gets back on the horse, literally and figuratively. When she arrived from New Jersey, she had been an avid horse rider who had taken some major falls, yet that hadn't stopped her. This metaphor and training might be what have led her to her true grit. I first met Rosie just last year. She had moved all the way across the country and was feeling a little lost. While she and her brother Jesse are close in age, they weren't as close as they would become. And uprooting your life is incredibly difficult, let alone during the quagmire that is 7th grade. One rose amongst the thorns of this experience was that she and her brother learned to rely on one another as friends. Rosie rallied and joined Stuco. She helped plan events that brought her classmates together and put her in close contact with like-minded individuals. She made an epic playlist for the first dance. She took risks, took action, and created new relationships. This year, Rosie traveled with her classmates all the way to Washington, D.C., and stayed for an entire week. She also wowed us on stage as a grandmother in the class play. Rosie is a big advocate for awareness of mental health, spurred in part by her move to Hillbrook. Her SIL project was dedicated to opening up a dialogue to raise awareness and make sure students didn't feel alone. She delved deep into her personal story, which is a testament to her courage. Rosie reached out to her family, friends, and teachers for help when she needed it, and in the process discovered courage, resilience, and connection. Thank you. Rosie, always remember you belong, and you have built your relationships through vulnerability, empathy, and bravery. You embody the spirit of resilience, and your transformation from feeling like an outsider to being completely at home is a testament to your strength and the unwavering support you have received from your people. Thank you for offering that to all of the students who have benefited from your conversation and lived experience. I didn't get to teach Rosie this year, but I have watched her rise and connect and truly belong. She walked into my classroom the other day, a confident young woman who is ready for high school at Los Gatos.
Rosie, you have shown us the power of perseverance and the beauty of finding one's place. May your future be filled with even greater triumphs as you continue to inspire others around you with your extraordinary spirit as you ride off into the sunset.
Lauren Rossi. I think your classmates know, you and your classmates know why I have a blanket on me, huh? I think you wear it like a jacket. Okay. I still remember the moment when I first met you in 6-3 advisory, the first day of school. I asked a question to the class, and you jumped out of your seat, raised your hand as high as possible with excitement to answer the question. And just then, I knew there was an adventure ahead of us. And so we did. We had an adventure. 2 years of math together, and you grew so much. I think in the beginning, you were trying to find your place at Hillbrook. And as often during the middle school years, there are high points and there's low points. But through all of that, I knew there was a leader deep down inside of you. And the first time I saw your leadership skills in action was during the Halloween door decorating contest in the 6th grade. You remember those that year? We were in stable cohorts together all day long, and I knew that I needed someone to bring our class together in a positive way, and I picked you. And you rose to the challenge. You got all your classmates together to bring in supplies, and the morning when we were decorating, you inclusively brought everyone together. We decorated the door, and our class won. And yeah. You and I continue to talk about how you could use your leadership skills to make a difference in our community. And I was so glad to find out when you decided to be part of Stuco and you were the co-editor of the yearbook. And that was when we saw you authentically helping and connecting with middle school students, and at the same time gently guiding lower school students on and off the stage at Flag. And that was your opportunity to shine as a leader. Then last week at the regatta, that was your last moment when we saw your leadership skills at Hillbrook, when you led your team, the Marine Machine, to victory, and you won. And through all of this, I believe what makes you such a great leader is that you have this ability and desire to want to connect with people. Deep down inside, you really care about that, and you want to make everyone smile. And that's what's going to take you to continue being a leader wherever you go. And it's been a joy watching you grow these past 3 years. I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait for the day where I hear that you become an Olympic water polo player.
Lucas. On the surface, Lucas probably appears to be just your ordinary middle school boy. He likes sports, hanging out with his friends, and trying to impress girls. To be honest, this was my first impression of him at the beginning of this year. Well, as is usual with first impressions, I was far from the truth. Lucas is an amazingly complex and driven young man. Soon after the first snows fell in the Sierras this past fall, Lucas began disappearing on a regular basis. His classmates were quick to tell me, "Of course Lucas isn't here, he's skiing." At first, I just laughed it off, but I quickly came to realize they were 100% correct. And while his skiing is certainly something he excels at, it was how he handled his classwork throughout his ski season that really impressed me. His grades stayed consistently high throughout this time, as he constantly communicated with me about what he was missing while he was gone and how he could make it up and stay connected with his education. It became clear to me that he values his education just as much as he does his skiing career. Where many students would have used being away from school as a chance to slack off, Lucas never did. That level of responsibility is rare in many people, let alone a teenage boy. Speaking of responsibility, another moment with Lucas happened recently while we were in Yosemite National Park. Lucas, like many students his age, was being a bit too chatty during times when he was supposed to be listening to others. And it got to the point where I actually had to hold him back from an activity in order to talk with him in private. And his response to this consequence was impressive, to say the least. He completely owned all of his actions and explained to me in detail exactly how he was going to make it all better the next day. And most importantly, he followed through with every single step of his plan. While he and I spoke throughout that trip, it became clear to me that Lucas is someone capable of deep, thoughtful introspection, and it is a trait that is astonishing for someone his age. Lucas, I hope you continue to be reflective and responsible, and I know you'll grow up to be a wonderful and honorable adult.
All right, Zi-Chen Chin. Way back last year in the 7th grade, I met a quiet student named Zi-Chen Chin who was in my advisory. At times, the only sound that signifies his presence was the gentle rolling of his backpack, and he appeared as if out of nowhere, a big smile on his face. Don't let that fool you. Zi-Chen's silence speaks volumes. Though, at first glance, he may appear reserved and unassuming, his ability to truly listen sets him apart from his peers. His eyes sparkle with humor, curiosity, and engagement. His quiet demeanor belies his immense wisdom as he carefully considers each word before offering gentle, thoughtful advice. During the Dungeons and Dragons Club, he often settled disputes by truly listening to his peers. He possesses the rare talent of being fully present in every conversation, making others feel valued and understood. Zi-Chen came to Hillbrook from China in 6th grade. His parents made a decision to move, and soon his whole life was swept out from under him. All of the comforts, including his ability to communicate with his peers. He stated that the best way to learn a language was to stop studying and just start doing, something he lives. He excels at creative writing, as well as being incredibly well-rounded. He plays the piano beautifully and has performed at the talent show. Zi-Chen's proficiency in coding is truly impressive and is a passion he continues to develop. He has demonstrated a keen understanding of complex algorithms and ability to tackle challenging programming tasks with ease. Miss Snow acknowledged that he taught her everything he had learned about filmmaking from YouTube and was an integral part of filming the play this year. Ms. Stoneman mentioned being impressed with Zi-Chen's introduction to his SIL project for a 5th grade audience. After a rough start with some tech trouble, he began by acknowledging that he was a little nervous about public speaking. Then he gave his whole presentation really wonderfully about what climate change is and also how young people could make a positive difference and maintain optimism. In his reflection in front of the students, he shared, "I'd say if you're nervous to present to people like I am, that you can do it anyways." It was a neat moment of caretaking for younger people on multiple levels and a really bold and mature way to open a presentation to a squirrely audience. Zichen, as you roll on in life, keep practicing using your voice. We have a lot to learn from you, and it's our turn to listen.
Maya. When speaking for Maya, it'd only be right to start with one of the obvious standout qualities, and that is her love of books. She always has a book in hand. She even brought a copy of the Iliad to one of the upper school events. And this is because she's a true intellectual, and reading has made her a strong critical thinking while shaping her worldview. I always appreciate our conversations where she's apt to share her insights and opinions. If you ask any of her teachers, they'll tell you she is wise beyond her years and an old soul. But she has plenty of silliness and playfulness in her as well. Just a couple weeks ago, I passed by her in the snack line while she was laughing to herself, totally cracking herself up, about the thought of sending Mr. Bohigian an email titled, "Question about Hillbrook homework, about history homework." And the joke is that he would open it up only to find a big picture of the Lorax posted in the text as a scheme to let the 8th graders watch the movie in class. And why the Lorax? Because according to Maya, it's a bad movie, and she loves bad movies. Maya has a whole host of other wonderful, admirable qualities. She's incredibly creative. One example that stands out for me was during a 7th grade science project where she created a Dungeons and Dragons campaign to explain the intricacies of the circulatory system. She's determined, whether learning guitar or working on an academic project, when setting a goal, she works until she accomplishes it and accomplishes it well. And then, of course, there's her love of logic and reasoning. In her own words, she loves math because it gives her brain dopamine. She even views jujitsu as a logic puzzle and likes that punching isn't allowed so she can come up with other ways to, again in her own words, vanquish her opponents. But this formidable side does not overshadow her true core, which is her kindness and thoughtfulness. She really cares about other people in the community. Her little sister Talia adores her so much that Maya calls her puppy because she follows Maya around and even sits waiting for her. And her SIL project is a demonstration of compassion and action where she has worked hard to advocate for mental health. Maya, with all of these qualities, you are poised to play an integral part in the shaping and development of the Hillbrook High School programs. And we are so happy that you're going to remain part of the Hillbrook community.
Calvin. When you arrived at Hillbrook in 4th grade, your hair was much shorter. You were very quiet and incredibly focused. While your hair has grown much longer, you have continued to be a quiet, steady, and hard worker throughout your time here. You have grown in your ability to think big, to tackle challenging academic projects, and to push yourself more than you thought you could. At the beginning of 8th grade, you advocated for yourself in a way that was so on point. You wrote, "It might look like I'm not paying attention, but I am. I just need to move around sometimes to help me listen and do my work." What wonderful knowledge of yourself, and so true. May you continue to advocate for yourself and know yourself throughout your academic journey. Calvin, you have a way of being your best that is unique to you. While at times it might be harder for others to see because it's not flashy or in your face, your best is so valuable to this community. Often quiet, always respectful, full of depth, you offer to the world your thoughtful opinions and ideas through your writing. Your writing this year, whether a history essay, a letter to your grandfather, a self-reflection on an English project, shows attention to detail and a clear understanding of the work at hand. Something about you that has shined in your time here at Hillbrook is your passion for animal rights. You have focused school projects on this more than once and took the opportunity to put your passion into action through your SIL project this year as an 8th grader. What began as a love of cats and an interest in animal adoption after your family adopted 2 cats turned into a project to help other animals in need. To help local animal shelters be better able to care for the animals on site, you ran a successful supply donation for a local shelter. Beyond school, you are also a talented and hardworking golfer. You commit your time and energy to this sport that you love, and your dedication has helped you develop your skills tremendously. You also served as captain to the flag football team this fall, showing leadership on and off the field in a very successful season with your team. May you continue to find joy in your work and your play. Congratulations.
Henry. So one of my first memories of Henry this year was on our 7th and 8th grade retreat in Santa Cruz at the beginning of the school year. My advisory class and I had to complete a photo scavenger hunt, and suffice to say, they were not exactly thrilled to be doing it. Henry, though, immediately began planning and organizing with his classmates how best to accomplish all of our tasks, both efficiently and swiftly. I thought of this moment because I believe it encapsulates so much of Henry's essence. He is unfailingly positive and always willing to jump into something new with both energy and enthusiasm. Another of my favorite Henry moments this year was his Lunar New Year performance during Friday Flag, while the rest of his classmates did their best just to remember the lyrics to a song in Mandarin. Henry not only sang with his fullest voice, but also danced with what can only be described as unbridled passion and joy. Henry is a one-of-a-kind young man who I am truly fortunate to have had the opportunity to teach this year. I'm even more fortunate because I will get to continue to interact with him as he moves on to Hillbrook Upper School. Henry is the rare student that deeply and authentically embodies all 4 of Hillbrook's core values: be curious, take risks, be your best, and most importantly, be kind. Henry, I hope you continue to bring light and warmth and kindness into the lives of everyone you meet.
Ren Silver. Turn around. Thanks to Ren, Timothée Chalamet will long live in SIL history. One pajama day in the fall, you proudly donned a blanket covered in Chalamet while participating in a filmed interview about SIL. Unfazed by being interviewed in PJs, you gracefully and articulately embraced the spotlight, responding thoughtfully and respectfully. Getting to know you and work with you, Ren Silver, has been a profoundly wonderful experience for me. You possess a sensitivity that, in my opinion, is your greatest strength, your superpower, if you will. Good thing you have on a cape. This quality allows you to connect with others like few people can, making you particularly kind, generous, and caring. It also fuels your infectious passion and enthusiasm for the people around you, the values you hold dear, and the things you care about. A beautiful moment for me was when you had a hard time telling me that you felt you needed to change your SIL project topic. You showed true character and integrity. Others might shake it off and say, sorry, changed my mind. But you don't live in a lavender haze. For you, this was a big decision because keenly aware of others' feelings, you were concerned about the impact your choice might have on peers and teachers. This keen sense of others also showed up when you donated a series of books about a spy school for girls to 5th graders. But I get to see it every day too, during lunch and snack recess in J4. You are effusive, positive, and comfortable in your own skin, and possess a unique ability to make those around you feel the same. Lastly, I need to comment on how you wholeheartedly commit yourself to the activities you love. Soccer, acting, a social impact and leadership project. It was so uplifting to see how much care and dedication you invested in creating a sketchbook that would later become your first Pixar film. I also got to see you practice rehearsing for the musical, again in J4. You might have projected pure imagination to your audience, but it was a product of deep commitment, practice, and determination. I know all too well that you will go far, and I can't wait to see you exceed your wildest dreams.
Nico. Check. Nico, let me get my glasses on. I have had the distinct pleasure of knowing you since you were, I think, 5 years old. You and I started Hillbrook on the same day. You were starting kindergarten, and I was much younger then. In 1st grade, I was asked to help out with the talent show auditions. I really didn't want to do it, but I thought that's probably a good thing to do when you're asked. I was sitting in Miss Lee's class, and the kids would come in, and you came in, it was recess, and you said you wanted to try out, and I said, okay, Nico, what are you gonna do? You said, Miss Dowdy, I am going to dance. And I said, okay, let's do this. You had your music, and you were so ready. The dance was perfect, impressive, actually. You even taught me the dab. And I was so in awe. And mention one little thing at the end, because your dance was so amazing, so good, that you might want to add maybe just a little special finish so the audience would know when you were done. You said in your playful way, oh, okay, and then you went outside to play. That was it. I didn't see you again until the talent show day. I came in the gym, your music had started, you nailed it. Then all of a sudden, you were not alone. All of your brothers, friends from high school, suddenly were out from the stage wings and came up to join you and dance. It was phenomenal. When the song was almost over, they lifted you up over their heads like Superman, and man, you were flying. Now, that's how you finish a dance. Moving on to middle school in 5th grade, I used to sneak over and read some books to the 5th grade class. One was Fortune Falls, and it was a story about kids who were going to either be lucky or unlucky, and a lot about superstition. We had fun with those conversations. Now, Nico's not, you weren't always one to raise your hand, and that's okay. It was okay. I kind of like that about you. But man, some of those moments of genius would just pop out. There was one story where the character's running through and trying not to step on a crack on a sidewalk, because we all know if you step on a crack, you break your mama's back. Nico didn't raise his hand, but something just burst out of him in a genius moment and said, then don't walk on the sidewalk. Just loved it. Always something great to say, and brought me so much joy. Later that year, we went to the Marin Headlands. It was so hot that year. We went on a long hike, really long, and it was uphill, I think both ways. It was so steep. At one point, the class got ahead of me. I came around the corner, and I saw this staircase that just went into the sky, straight up. I approached the stairs. I wasn't sure I had the energy to even climb them, but I knew the Blue Angels were going to play, and I had to get there. So I just did one step at a time. The stairs were really, really hard and steep. Sipping what little water I had left, I just kept going. When I finally got to the top, there you were. I asked Nico, are you okay? He said, yes. I said, what are you doing, bud? He said, I'm waiting for you. Listen, that moment of kindness speaks volumes about your character, Nico. You're amazing. And thank you for waiting for me. That meant a lot to me. Now on to basketball. Last year, I attended some basketball games. There was one at another school. I walked in the room, parents were everywhere. The intensity in the gym was amazing. We had the lead, and then suddenly we did not. The clock was running down fast. Now these are moments when many people might say it's over, and they just kind of give it up, but not you, Nico. You kept your cool, you came down the bleacher side of the court, you looked at that net with focus, confidence, and determination, and you sank a basket from so far away, it was a thing of beauty. You turned around and went, everything in that moment changed. Everyone felt the rush. The crowd went nuts, and your team's energy was relit and came back for a beautiful win. That was so awesome. You're strong, you're humble, you're intelligent, you're hilarious, and friendly to everyone. And in all these years, all the way back to kindergarten, you have never once, ever walked past me without saying hello. Not ever. And I know you have an amazing life ahead of you. It's been a joy being your teacher all of these years. I want to thank you for being you. And also I want to thank you for going to Safeway down to the vegetables and getting me another onion when I dropped mine behind the self-check. You're a rock star. Congratulations, Nico. I miss you already.
Have you heard of the left brain, right brain idea? You know, the notion that each person has a dominant hemisphere of the brain, the left for logical and analytical thinking, and the right for creativity and artistic expression. Well, it's actually been debunked by neuroscientists at the University of Utah. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's because they've gotten the chance to know Kira. Kira is truly exceptional. I've been blown away by her crazy IQ coupled with genuine humility, creativity, and desire to make things better. I'll share 3 examples that show why Kira might just have been the very reason the left-right brain dominance was debunked. First of all, in the yearbook, she awarded herself with most likely to be using Duolingo. That's because she's currently not just learning one, but 6 languages simultaneously. Her motivation ranges from connecting with friends to exploring the fun of language learning, from discovering similarities between different languages to seeing how a computer program interprets her native tongue. Obviously, she has an exceptionally analytical mind. Left brain? Check. Now on to creativity. Can you guess who has won the Hillbrook Walkathon t-shirt contest twice in a row? Not only did she design a great-looking t-shirt, she even made them interactive. Her coloring book-inspired design allowed the students to personalize them by adding their own artistic flair and color. Now everyone looks forward to her t-shirts, and I'm not sure what we're gonna do next year. Creativity? Check. Could she put 2 together? Of course she can. Did you see the boat that Kira and her team built for the regatta last Friday? Clearly, the best of both brain worlds. The boat was thoughtfully engineered, making it all the way to the semifinals. Plus, it was decorated with tie-dye and captained by Kira dressed in a pirate outfit, cleverly named Tie-Dye-Ritz. If that's not enough evidence for you of both an analytical and creative brain, then I can also share that I've seen her make several complex pixel cat stickers, design an 8-bit themed escape room for others to enjoy, and make part of an elaborate alphabet pop-up book where she engineered F for fish, G for known, and Z for zebra. These are all perfect examples of how creativity and logic can go hand in hand. Kira, it has been a great pleasure getting to know you these past 2 years. Your thirst for knowledge and intellectual curiosity are truly remarkable. I look forward to seeing the things you create and wish you the best in your high school journey.
Emma. While she rarely takes center stage when off stage, Emma Galley adventures through life humbly and with purpose, positively impacting people, the environment, and furry friends along the way. Emma, I have known you since you were very little, and I'm honored to be here reflecting on your time at Hillbrook since junior kindergarten. There is so much to say. You have traveled widely by foot and by plane, on skis and on wheels. You have immersed yourself in a myriad of experiences that includes riding horses and bikes, playing team sports, participating in local musical productions, traveling through foreign countries, backpacking through wildernesses, and sailing in far-off seas. You are a loyal friend. You are a hard worker. You are a dreamer and a believer. Dreams have the ability to help us focus. They keep us motivated and on a path. They call on our creativity and encourage us to think positively and hopefully. In the 5th grade, you wanted kittens. I remember when you started writing about this in your writer's notebook, angling the writing prompts in such a way that you could passionately explain to whoever might be reading why you wanted them. You created a found poem, the shape of which was a cat, and an acrostic poem titled Kittens. You told me you were going to petition your parents. It's not that your family was lacking pets. By then, you had a beautiful red lab named Lily, and you were riding horses, an earlier dream that had finally come to fruition. So you had to work at this. Finally, in late 2020, your perseverance paid off, and you adopted 2 kittens.
Over the course of the year, you tended to them like family members, designing and building the catio, an elaborate covered outdoor shelf that rested on the sill just outside the living room window. Cinnamon and Bear wandered in and out like royalty. Your passion and commitment to this and other dreams reflects what you value in life. You do not take nature for granted, and the same is true for your friendships. When you reflected in a 6th grade buddy activity on your favorite memories from junior kindergarten, the list included science, the science garden, making elephant toothpaste, and friends. You've spent a lot of time outdoors, and you know this has an impact on the environment. Because of this awareness, your SIL project came easily for you. You were not fazed by the need to present publicly information about deforestation because it matters so much to you. What was challenging, building a website, called on your determination and dreamy positivity. And although time constraints and costs got in your way, you learned a lot, and it won't surprise me if that website is up and running in the near future. As you noted in your memories of JK, friendships have always been important. Like everything else, when you commit, you don't abandon. I have witnessed you support friends publicly, like speaking at Flag to inform our community about neurodiversity, and find comic relief with them, like dancing at recess during COVID. I saw that in the 8th grade award you gave yourself, you will still be attached to Luana at the hip. And this summer, you are returning to the UK to spend over a month with a friend you made when you lived there for 2 years. You have extended yourself across the globe, and you have committed to nurturing those relationships. Finally, the gum chewing. It has to stop, Emma. I thought you were a rule follower until I saw you perform in Willy Wonka. Now I'm having second thoughts about you. You fell into that role so smoothly. Maybe it's a testament to your acting ability, but I'm still a little skeptical. Emma, we will all miss seeing you commute to and from school on your bike, but I can picture you now on the campus of the school where you will be living next year, wheeling from building to building, sporting a pair of colored Converse, and following your dreams on a new adventure. Work hard, have fun, and dream on.
Qijing. So, for those of you who don't know, Qijing had to face an experience that very few of us have probably ever had to face this year. She moved to a new country and a new school, all while not yet knowing the language of the people where she was moving to. Qijing literally arrived in the United States the week before school began in August, and began learning English on her very first day at Hillbrook. So the story of Qijing's time here at Hillbrook has been one of perseverance and resourcefulness. Within a few days of arriving here, Qijing began to utilize various apps and digital resources to begin translating work to and from Mandarin. I was amazed at how well she was able to use these resources to get by in class. Furthermore, she helped some of her new friends learn how to use these apps as well, so they could better communicate with her, both in and outside of class. The ultimate example of this, to me, was her presentation of her SIL project in March. Even though she was offered the opportunity to pre-record her presentation, she opted to do it live. Mere months after arriving in the United States and beginning to learn English, she delivered a full 5-minute presentation about the similarities and differences in mathematical philosophies and education in both China and the United States. I forgot to write this one down, but it was particularly impressive because she literally had to write and memorize it all. That'd be like one of you who doesn't speak Mandarin doing the same thing but in Mandarin. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not mention her incredible artistry. Her handwriting often looks as if she is composing classical calligraphy for some ancient tome or manuscript. Qijing, I hope we get to see more of each other as you move on to the upper school and continue to have deeper and more meaningful conversations. conversations.
Isra. Isra joined our school last year. Arriving at a new school after 2 years of isolation during COVID meant navigating a new campus and a new group of teachers and a new group of classmates. But if a job requires bravery and determination, Isra's the one to do it. Isra's become famous here for her stoic approach to challenges, whether it's walking from the Sofa Market to the Discovery Museum in 10 minutes to make sure an art and activism field trip goes smoothly, or climbing the 600 cold, wet, slippery steps up the mist trails to Vernal Falls in Yosemite. Her determination was also reflected in her schoolwork. She's a quiet observer, but she's determined to ask questions until she fully understands the material. She also pushes herself to try new things, showing the same determination to learn mountain biking during last year's Reach Beyond Week, or this year, traveling to Taiwan and Japan. Isra has contributed to campus life by joining the Social Justice Club, where her close observation, her thoughtful contributions make an impact. Perhaps unsurprisingly for her SIL project, Isra chose to help others to find ways to overcome obstacles and reach their goals. As she so often does, she chose a particularly difficult path, challenging herself to tell a story using animation. She learned a completely new technology, using story experiential to tell the story of a determined girl overcoming obstacles through self-assessment and awareness of mental health. Isra, we're so glad that your courage and determination brought you here, and we're so looking forward to the challenges you will take on at Hillbrook High.
Quick reflexes there. I still got it. All right, Dean. Dean, I'm so fortunate to have known you for the last 9 years and to have been your 7th grade advisor. Throughout the years, a defining trait we have all observed is your ease with finding common ground, bringing people together, and mediating in times of conflict or disagreement. The unity you create in our community appears to come so naturally, and yet I know that you consistently work hard at being your best and bringing out the best in others. We see this remarkable ability on display in many different contexts. First, I think of the realm of sports, football, basketball, volleyball, where you excel as a skilled player with an intuitive understanding of the game, having played on Hillbrook teams since 5th grade. A true team player, you show up with a calm demeanor and an open mind, listening to feedback. Coach Jade saw this early on last year when he placed you on the A basketball team. In your everyday interactions and in the classroom, you are a master of reading the room. You listen to all sides, seek to understand perspectives, and find solutions. You recognize the value of collective action and collaboration. Your SIL Group Impact Project this year, a documentary about ocean pollution, served as a model for how a collaborative social impact project can be successful. Dean, not only are you the social glue and a beacon of empathy and understanding, you also add a dash of humor and fun to everything you do. I'll remember you in your State Farm Halloween costume as Grandpa Joe and Willy Wonka, and dancing the conga line with your friends at the last dance of the year. Your smile, warmth, and flexibility will take you far in high school and beyond. Best of luck on your journey ahead.
Soren. Like a bird soaring over California. Your teachers describe you as nimble in character and easy to get along with. However, nimble and flexible also point to your physical prowess at bats and insects. As the story goes, your ability to gracefully elude getting caught made it a never-ending game during the 7th grade Big Sur trip. Soren, the quality that immediately strikes me about you is your genuine smile. Not only does it remind me to think positive, as your inspiring interpretation of Charlie encourages us to do, but it tells the story of a formidable disposition and overall wonderful human. One who is unfailingly gracious to all, easygoing, positive, and honest, which is probably why I always see you surrounded by good friends. You lead with kindness and infectious optimism. I saw this when others eagerly wanted to team up with you for your SIL project. They were attracted to your passion and true sense of what matters to you and how to do something about it. As your project came together, your passion for the ocean and why it matters to you as a surfer was clear. But I also had the special privilege of seeing you be your best in 2 different ways, on your own and with your team. It was exciting to see how dedicated you were to your specific role in developing the project. At the same time, alongside your team, you played your part in crafting and presenting your proposal to school administration, illustrating your willingness to take risks and step far outside of your comfort zone. After all, you have nothing to lose, so why not choose to think positive? With that attitude, Soren, I have no doubt that you will soar over much more than California.
You got it. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. Sora. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, those lines I just sang perfectly summarize Sora's spirit, smiling and laughing. I challenge anyone to come up with a time when this has not been the case. Even on those early mornings or after a long, tough day, you will find Sora doing at least one of those, but probably both. Sora is not just a person spreading and exhibiting joy and laughter. She is a determined person. When she takes on a role or a task, she puts out her absolute best effort to ensure it gets done and gets done well. In this year's spectacular 8th grade play, Sora took on the responsibility of being one of the play managers, a role that requires focus, hard work, and leadership. Even though she was never on stage, in my humble opinion, the play does not achieve its spectacular reviews without her overall effort. I would be negligent if I did not mention her extremely generous offer to help with the yearbook this year, and she wasn't officially even on the staff. At the beginning of the quarter, her role as play manager, she didn't have a lot to do at first. So, on her own, she came to me to ask if she could help with finishing the yearbook, and boy, did we need the help. As I mentioned in the beginning of this speech, Sora exudes joy and laughter, a massive reason why so many people are drawn to her. I have to say, Almost anything can bring Sora to uncontrollable laughter, usually alongside of her main accomplice, Tessa. One day, on the way to Lunardi's to get supplies for one of her culinary class dishes, there was Sora and Tessa in the back of the van I was driving, playing a game where each took turns trying not to make the other laugh. Really, Sora? Why? Why would you ever play that game? Well, long story short, Sora never won a round, ever. And they played a ton. First, Tessa is hilarious, and someone reading a recipe can produce uncontrollable laughter in Sora. Seriously though, Sora, your smiles, your laughter, and overall joy is a gift for everyone who come in contact with you, and I can personally attest to that. Sora, you and your joy and laughter will sincerely be missed next year, and wish nothing but the best for you.
William. William arrived at Hillbrook over a month into his 8th grade year, and the impact he has had on our community in such a short amount of time has been nothing short of remarkable. When William first arrived at Hillbrook, I'll be honest, myself and many of his classmates were immediately struck by one incredible thing about him: his height. As a basketball coach, I'd be lying if I said I didn't start thinking of, how to use him on the court on his very first day. Dreams of big men of old filled my head. However, we would all come to learn that he was much, much more than just a tall young man with an impeccable fashion sense, which I see you really showed off tonight, William. I swear, in DC, we would all be in shorts and t-shirts, dressed to the nines every day. Something that struck me right away was his willingness to try new things and be open to new experiences. After just his first SIO class, he was already reflecting about what he had just experienced and what he thought he could gain from that class. Each new experience for him is not just something that happens. It is an opportunity to learn and grow as an individual. Yet another example of this was his first Hillbrook benefit. He not only attended to help volunteer, he surprised us all by being one of the main speakers of the event. Anyone who saw his speech could attest to the fact that he represented our school and our community exceptionally well. While I wish I had more time to speak in depth about all of the ways in which William is a genuinely fantastic young man to teach, I will do my best to list just a few more now. He has dreams and potential to be an Olympic fencer. He is already sending ideas to Mike Peller about his hopes and dreams for the new upper school. He has a knack for videography and cinematography, just to name a few. William, I am absolutely certain you will find happiness and success in whatever you choose to do with your life. And thank you, and I'm so happy you chose Hillbrook.
Victor. Victor, you are known among your peers and teachers as a deeply creative and artistic student. You could often be found tinkering away in the hub or in art class, asking for ideas from your teachers and classmates about how to make something you've already made that was amazing even better. As noted by Ms. Timpano, Victor had a maturity about his learning that is rare and wonderful. He understood characters and literature on a deep level and engaged thoughtfully in class discussions. Also of important note, Victor had the best music recommendations for studying in quiet time. Ms. Timpano still uses your suggested playlist, Lo-Fi, to this day. Victor, you're known as a loyal and compassionate friend, reaching out consistently, making sure people know that they are loved and seen and valued, and you always made time to talk to anyone if they needed something. These consistent acts of kindness were seen by so many of your teachers and classmates and are such a testament to the unique opportunities that you brought for people to share with you a newfound friendship. As noted by Professor Fernandez in your SIL project, Victor had a vision of creating a sticker that included ideas and voices from so many different groups of lower school students. You used art to promote mental health and well-being. While many students would have found including the ideas of more than 40 fourth graders a logistical nightmare, Victor patiently and creatively found ways to include not just some, but all of their ideas in his final design. Many of your classmates and teachers have the sticker on our laptops because we're so proud of your final presentation. This is such a testament to your creative genius and perseverance and dedication to inclusion. I vividly remember you sharing one afternoon in SIL, "It's so important to me that every single student has their idea in this final sticker." Ms. Hale noted that in 7th grade wheel throwing, Victor made an exceptional mug adorned with roses and a true testament to his sense of aesthetics. A longtime social impact advocate, Ms. Long remembers that Victor wrote an essay in 3rd grade titled, "We Should All Save All the Animals." And Ms. Blum shared fond memories of Victor experimenting in the garden with a myriad of questions, one that she still has in her classroom today. So if you put soil on a wet newspaper and throw it, will an earthworm chase it? Such a great testimony to your curiosity and kindness and dedication to learning how things work. Victor, it is clear that you have made a lasting impression on the Hillbrook community and that your creativity, curiosity, artistic talents will continue to inspire teachers and students for years to come. We look forward to the many things that you will do in the future and can't wait to continue to support you. Congratulations.
Good deduction. Luana. So, one of my favorite moments in the play this spring was a photo reveal of Mike TV with a pitch-perfect look of exasperation and annoyance on his face, undoubtedly because he was forced to look away from the screen long enough to pose for a photo. This was achieved by Luana, playing very much against type. We all know her as supremely warm, funny, and kind. Her perfect embodiment of an impatient, selfish character gives some insight into her aptitude for close observation, reflection, and crystal clear communication. Luana has been with us since junior kindergarten, and in so many ways she represents the best of Hillbrook. She is kind, she is curious, and she always brings her best. Luana's playfulness, her sense of humor, her resilience, kindness, and flexibility are consistent and have been invaluable in the classroom. She's a gifted performer, having danced on stage for years. She is also a talented illustrator and, of course, an excellent student. She holds herself to a high standard. This is true for her schoolwork, but also her character. She doesn't shy from self-examination and is willing to take risks. For her SIL project, Luana took a deep look at her own experience as a dancer and the effects of the perfectionism and the pressure that can so easily develop in such a demanding art. She researched the prevalence of mental health issues among young dancers and decided to create a children's book to help address what can be a very difficult issue to acknowledge and to talk about. This included a beautifully illustrated mock-up of her book, research into mental health, organizations providing support, and into the art of writing for children. She also taught a dance class with young students here at Hillbrook. In her own words, passion is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle of social impact. If you have no heart in your voice and message, you will never be heard. So chase after what makes you happy, because that will make you feel truly accomplished. Luana, we are so much better for having had you here. We wish you all the best in high school and beyond.
like to thank you all for coming. I think that's everyone. Oh, did I miss someone? Oh, okay. Chloe. So the challenge in recognizing Chloe Scott is finding something to say that no one has said before. Anyone who knows her knows that she is intelligent, driven, talented, and passionate about everything she chooses to set her mind and attention to. Therefore, I will attempt to focus on an attribute of hers that I believe often goes unnoticed, her kindness. Now, for many that know Chloe well, her single-minded drive to be her best at everything she does can tend to overshadow her other incredible qualities. However, I have seen many extraordinary examples of kindness from Chloe this year. For example, she chose to focus her SIL project on creating a youth advocacy group centered on women's rights. But she did not just stop there. She ended up creating care baskets for women at a local women's shelter, with the specific intention of helping women with less good fortune and privilege than her. She did not just research an issue she is passionate about. She took it to the next level by actually doing something that had an immediate and positive impact on the lives of others. Chloe is not one to take the gifts she has been given in life for granted. She's not one to just learn about how to do the right thing. She's the kind of person who actually goes out and does it. I also saw her kindness on display in Washington, D.C. this spring. Without being asked, and without no thought to any reward or recognition, she looked out for her classmates throughout the trip. When someone wasn't paying attention or accidentally wandering off, she was as effective as one of the adults at corralling and supporting her classmates. She is a persistent champion of the underdog and is always willing to stand up for others, even when it might make her unpopular with her peers. Chloe, you have already made an incredible positive impact on this world, and I know you will continue to do so in the years to come. I know it all too well. We're not the only one. All right, thank you, Chloe.
All right, let's hear another round of applause for our students, but also a round of applause for the amazing teachers and the work that they put into those speeches. So as promised, this was part one. Part two is tomorrow morning. Students should arrive at the normal time tomorrow morning, and we are very excited. We will see you outside for the 9 a.m. promotion in the amphitheater. Thanks for coming this evening.